Alright YouTubes, how are we all doing? Hope you're all well. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a bit of a rush job. I'm a bit behind and I've got a few things on the go. So I've got in a bit early this morning, but I'll show you the job. It ain't nothing special. But I'm going to show you a different sort of side to it where we can do a good job quick. But yeah, sort of cheating a little bit. It's known in the trade as a lash up. That's what we're doing today, bit of a lash up. So it's a couple of bumpers off an old Astra, Vauxhall Astra. The car ain't pretty, ain't nothing special. These bumpers are hanging really. There's bits and bobs everywhere on it. It was all pushed in here. Reese has stripped this and popped all this out because this was all pushed in. Same with the front one, it's just scraped everywhere, stone chips and all the rest of it. So what I'm going to do with this job, bit different to what I normally do. It's not going to be so much care and attention, but I'm going to show you that you can still get a good job by sort of cutting some corners a little bit really. So basically what I'm going to do is all the rough damage, I'm just going to buzz out with like 180 grit and 240 grit. All the bits of damage that I can see everywhere, I can see. Do that on both bumpers. Then I'm just going to 320 DA all the bumpers all over and red Scotch Brite dry. And then I'm going to go around with a filler and fill all the bits that I can see that need filler. Hopefully I can get that in one skim. Then I'm just going to DA off the filler. As long as what I want to achieve is to get the filler finished off. I'm going to probably just DA the filler off with like 220 or 180 or something, and then just give it a little block and finish all the filler off in 320. I'm going to give it 2 coats of 2-pack primer, but it's what's called the compact filler, which is really fast drying. It's like 15-minute bake. So I'm going to get them all prepped, all the filler done, get some pore filler in the filler, and then 2 coats of that 2K primer, give it a bake, let it cool down, just knock that primer off. Then I'm just going to wet and black, and then 1.5 coats of base coat, the colour, and then clear coat. So it's sort of to do it quick and save on materials, and yeah, just try and make them look presentable. But they come out. I quite enjoy doing jobs like this, to be honest with you. I've had loads of times in the past that, you know, the car ain't great, the job's not going to be perfect by any means, but you can still get a good result, and it's going to, you know, whatever goes on these bumpers, it's going to look way better than the rest of the car anyway. It's that type of job, you know. So yeah, I'm just going to do, like I say, do them wet them in black, and then you can save on a bit of base coat materials. I only need 1.5 coats of black base coat on there, and then a couple of coats of clear coat. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lash these bumpers up, and it's not a car sales job neither, believe it or not. That's normally the type of work this is, but it's not. So yeah, that being said, I'm going to get sanding and get cracking on. Right then, YouTubes, yeah, as the title says, doing bumpers on a budget, so trying to get them done quickly, efficiently, with the minimal amount of materials really. So yeah, obviously the bumpers were stripped off the day before, and Reese pushed out a little bit of damage, some low spots where the bumper was pushed in. So yeah, what I like to do on this type of work is just get everything prepped, get all the keying up done, get all the repairs areas sanded, ready for filler, and then if there's like little chips and bits and bobs that haven't quite sanded out, I can sort of address it all in one go with a filler all at once. So most of the footage is just going to be me on the back bumper on this. No point showing both bumpers being prepped. So yeah, initially I'm just attacking all the roughest bits with some 180 with the thin soft pad on the DA, and just getting out, you know, roughing out as much of the damage as possible, ready for some filler. Once I've roughed it out, and it's keyed up, I'm not looking, you know, if there's any high spots, I'll push them down with a bit of heat, or vice versa. If there's any low spots, get behind it with something sort of hard, heat it up and push it up a little bit just to minimise the amount of filler, and trying to get this in one skim really. The key really is with this is not to refinish the sanding grades so fine, and use you know, the wet on wet as like use the wet on wet as sort of as your escape route really, for not having to finish it off as finely. So you know, 320 grit is good enough for wet on wet. So yeah, like I say, roughing out. There was a previous repair there that I uncovered, already had filler in it, and I had to sort of take out most of that filler, and they just filled into a low spot, but I weren't going to start messing about with that. I just refilled over the top of it, to be fair. So yeah, that's what I'm initially doing. 180, all the rough spots ready for filler. So now going over the whole bumper, keying up the whole bumper for paint with 320 grit, and yeah, just sanding everything that's on the bumper. Any other smaller marks I'll sand out with 320 grit, and yeah, get it all keyed up, all the areas keyed up, and then followed by a red scotch. So that's it. Once all the repairs are roughed out, all the repair areas are roughed out, and the whole bumper's keyed up, get it all blown down, cleaned down. You can just normally find you can just mix one lot of filler, skim the whole lot, every bit that you can see. If you see little chips, wipe little bits of filler in them, instead of going round, you know. Other ways you can repair plastics, you can go coarser, you know, start with 80 grit and try and sand it, most of it out of the plastic. But once you start going down that road of trying to get it all out the plastic and using coarser sanding grits, you're going to end up having to use more primer and stuff like that. So trying to find like a happy medium with the grades. My initial thinking behind it is you know, have it close to a grade that's wet on wettable, because you can get away with a fair bit of on bumpers with wet on wet. So if I just keep it all within the realms of 320 grit, I know wet on wet's going to cover that, no problem, and it's just quicker. You're going to key it up quicker, because it's a bit coarser than what you would say finish a bump, you know, something off, a bumper off for paint. For a top coat, you'd be finishing like 500 grit. So if you do it all a bit coarser, red Scotch Brite, 320 grit DA, 320 grit sanding pads, and use that as your final cut for then just to put a coat of wet on. I just find, you know, it could be a quick way of doing this. So, you know, we started these bumpers, re-stripped them the night before. I got in about 7:30, probably near on 8 o'clock by the time I started sanding them, repairing them, and prepping them. And I had it clear coated by about 3:30 that afternoon. You know, with a few little interruptions in the day, and you know, a bit of distractions and a couple of breaks in between. I didn't think it was bad going, to be honest with you, to get it prepped, repaired, primed, baked off, primer rubbed down, wet on wet, base coat and clear coat. You know, just, to me, I think that was quite a quick turnaround for the state that the bumpers were in, and it just saved a bit of time and a bit of material doing that. So it's all prepped now. Everything's prepped. We've done exactly the same to the front bumper. It's what I've done to the rear. Reese has done exactly the same to the front. There wasn't so many repairs to do on the front. So you're just getting it all cleaned off now. and then get some filler in there. Try and get it all in one skim. That's the aim. Try and get it all in one skim. So just giving it a skim of filler now, and yeah, filler I used is Evercoat Rage Ultra. It's good for jobs like this, to be fair. Just it's quite smooth and runny, like a fine filler, but it's you can fill quite decent depth with it as well. And yeah, I find it good on plastics. Works really well on plastics, and it is a good filler. So yeah, trying to get it all in one skim. Any imperfections I can see, just putting filler over it. Nothing too major. That to be honest with you, that bit that I'm skimming now, I did have to give that another skim just across the face of it, but I got everything else in one skim. Just that repair there that I had to address. Took another little bit of filler, but yeah, it was all good. So yeah, get that filler in, let that go off, and then start sanding it. So quick guide coat on there, and just to take the rough off, I'm going straight on with the DA. So that's 180 grit on the DA, no soft pad on it, and just keep moving it fast and sort of use it like a block a little bit, just to get the bulk of it off, get it almost there shape wise with the DA, which doesn't take long. Sanding filler with the DA is a little bit rough, I know, but just get it there to rough it out to somewhere in the right vicinity. Get the shape in there, roughly where you need it. So now once I've roughed it out with the DA, I'm now going to just refine the shape a little bit with the block, and step it up on the grade. So that's 220 grit on the block now, and that's I can leave that scratch. 220 grit's good enough for the primer that I'm going to be putting on it, and yeah, just get all the feature lines a bit better, and obviously you can't get in everywhere with the DA neither. It doesn't take long to shape it up after you've DA'd the filler, to shape it up with that block. And like I say, you're stepping up a grade on the sandpaper, and that's all you need to be doing. You don't need to be refining any more scratches in it. And yeah, get the shape there, get it where I need it. Like I say, I give that top bit another little skim, and then I just go round all the repairs again. Just go round it all with 320 grit again. So basically, the filler work's finished off in 220 grit. The whole rest of the bumper and all the prepping around the repairs finished in 320 grit, and then that's good enough for the primer that I'm going to put on it. So yeah, just feathering out the scratches around the filler with some 320 grit, like I say, and that's good enough. Then that's ready to go. Get it all blown off, get it all cleaned down, get it degreased. And then I'll go round all the filler check it all for pinholes, get everything blown down, cleaned down properly, quick degrease over the whole bumper, and then just go round with some pore filler, smear all the filler with some pore filler. That really helps with the amount of primer that you have to use. So if you use pore filler, you're going to use less primer, which means you can cure the primer quicker, which speeds up the job, you know. For that little 5 minutes of spending some time putting some pore filler in the filler, it also stops the furriness on the plastics as well. So any of the bare plastic that's showing, with pore filler over it, it smooths it out. It loses that furriness in the primer, and then with that pore filler in there, that's less primer that's going on there, which means less application time and quicker curing time, which speeds it all up. And it makes a better job of it. Less sinkage as well, fills in little micro pinholes, and it's well worth doing. I highly recommend putting pore filler over filler before you prime it. It makes such a difference to the primer stage. I couldn't not do it anymore. Times that I do forget to do it, I really kick myself and regret not putting it in there, because it does make such a difference to the primer going on there. It refines the scratches, it reduces shrink back and all sorts of stuff, and sinkage. So yeah, on with the primer now. So Mipa 4+1, it's what they call their compact filler ratio. So it's the same mixing ratio as the high build, but it's basically got double the amount of thinners in it, and you use a really rapid thinner. It's called a VR thinner. So it's got 20%. So it's 5:1 the mixing ratio, and it's got 20% thinner in it, the VR thinner in it, and it is really fast drying. It's got a good build, but it's not like a real thick film build. It's quite a flat, smooth primer. So I give this 2.5 coats. So I show a half coat going on, and then one wet coat, and then I gave it another wet coat as well. So 2.5 coats of that compact filler, and then literally a 15-minute bake at 60 degrees. Well, it's on for 20 minutes. So I give it 5 minutes to get up to 60. 15 minutes at 60. Let it cool down, and then I'm ready to sand that down. It's gone nice and hard, ready to sand it down in preparation for the paintwork. Right, so it's had the bake. Lucky enough, it fell on lunchtime. So give it a 20-minute bake at 60 degrees. Then let it cool down. I turned the booth back on and drew some of the heat out. And I'm just prepping it in the booth. We've got dust extraction in there. That it does make a little bit of dust in there, and it's not ideal. But like I say, this is just trying to do this job quick and efficiently. So just in the repair areas, I'm giving that a block with 320 grit dry, just in the repair areas, nothing major. I'm not you know, looking for perfection on this. I'm just, you know, any little transitions between the filler and the plastic, just giving that a little block out in them areas really where the repairs went, not blocking the whole bumper. I pretty much primed that whole back bumper all over. There was just spots everywhere, so it had a bit more primer on the repairs, and then like the bumper had a coat over all of it primer wise. So yeah, again, like I say, where I'm going to do this is wet on wet. I'm not going to be refining the scratches so much for paintwork where I'm wet on wet in it. See, this is where you know, you can save a bit of time because it's quicker to obviously sand, and you haven't got to do that next stage of going through, you know, the finer grades of 500. So I've blocked out the repair areas with 320 grit, and again now I've just got 320 grit on the DA, and yeah, just gonna whip over everything now with 320 grit on the DA, and get it all prepped out and sanded up, and then again all in the nooks and crannies and the places that I can't get with the DA, just use 320 grit soft pad in those areas as well. And that'll be it. That's how I leave it, ready for paint in 320 grit. So just finishing now by hand around all the areas, feature lines, and in the nooks and crannies with 320 grit on a soft pad, and then yeah, it creates obviously a bit of dust and snow extraction with the soft pads. So instead of blowing any dust in my booth and all that, I just give the whole bumpers good soaking with some water degreaser and just collect up as much of that dust as I can. You know, obviously where I'm doing it in the booth, I'm trying to minimise the amount of dust I create in there. And then yeah, give it a good clean down with a water degreaser, and then get the booth on, and get it all dried out and blown off, and then that's it. It's ready to go. A few little breakthroughs. It's all finished in 320 grit, and yeah, first thing we're going to do is put a nice wet coat of black wet on there, and this colour was Sapphire Black 20R. Can be a bit of a problematic colour. Found a decent enough shade on a colour chip that was good enough for the car, and yeah, you know, being a metallic black and putting black wet on there and having all your undercoat black, yeah, going to save yourself a coat of base coat minimum, really, one coat of base coat. It does, you know, doesn't sound like a lot saving one coat, but it's saving you a bit of time with application wise. And base coats, you know, one of the most expensive parts of the painting process. The colours are probably the most expensive part. So, you know, the combination of leaving this in a rougher grit saves you time. So the wet on wet's probably the cheapest product going on there. So the combination of using a rougher grit to finish off for paint, and then saving on a coat of base coat, that's all time saved, and it's all material saved, just by, you know, doing one coat of wet on wet first, really. So I'm on to the base coat stage. Regulars will know it's Mipa Waterbase with me. So yeah, using my X5500 with a 1.2i setup, that's a HVLP, and I just put in one half coat on. Always start with a half coat with Mipa Waterbase, so sort of one quick half coat, which, you know, on black base coat on top of black primer is going to be pretty much covered on that half a coat. So yeah, get that one half coat on there, then get that dried out, and then just one wet coat straight over the top of it. Normally I'd do a double coat. Some you know, transparent colours I'd have to do one single coat and then a double coat. So yeah, with this, I think I used 600ml of colour in total, or it might be 550, I can't remember now, around that sort of number of colour. I normally allow about 350ml, depending on the colour, for a bumper off the car, to get around all the edges. Between 350, obviously some bumpers are bigger and all the rest of it, between 350 400ml. So I budgeted like about 275ml per bumper on this. So that's the half coat dried off, and then yeah, just one wet coat. I did have a bit of base coat left actually. I could have got away with mixing a bit less, but yeah. So just the one wet coat over all of it, and then a drop coat. I couldn't find the footage for the drop coat, but I did do a drop coat on it once it was dry, and yeah, just make sure get everything covered. Everything's got a nice even coat of base coat on it, and that's good enough for this job colour wise. So ready for clear coat now. My X5500 RP with a 1.20 setup for speed, and I'm using a Mipa CX2, which is Mipa's sort of budget fast dry clear coat. Really good for these types of jobs. It's got a great gloss, and yeah, I call it budget, but it looks, you know, I've used some other budget clears in my time, and I probably wouldn't call this a budget clear, not by the way it looks. It's about 120 quid for a kit, which I don't think is too bad. So that's 5 litres, 5 litres of clear coat, 2.5 litres of hardener, and the hardeners, HS10, 25, whatever you want. The hardeners on their own are really expensive with Mipa. They are with a lot of paint manufacturers. So to get that as a kit for about 120 quid, I think it's an absolute bargain, to be honest with you. And you can put it, you know, it looks good on premium cars as well, you know. It dries so quick, it's unreal really. You put the HS10 hardener in it, and it's literally 10 minutes on bake. That's the whole bake time, so it takes a good 5 minutes to get up to 60, and let it cool down, and you can work with it. After about an hour you could probably polish it as well. So yeah, great clear, great value for money, and great for jobs like this. So yeah, the spread rate, the film build may not be as good as some other clears, and the gloss level may be a tad lower than you know, some of your premium clears, but on your everyday cars and your run-of-the-mill stuff, the gloss is perfect for that, for them types of vehicles. And yeah, works well on these jobs. And yeah, like I say, it's really versatile. You can use it big jobs, small jobs. Yeah, it works really well. Like I say, probably the film build's probably not as good as some other HS clears, a little bit thinner, but 2 good coats and it is fine. It's really easy to apply as well. So yeah, yeah, 2 coats of this going on. This is obviously the first coat, and then second coat be similar to this one. And then yeah, like I say, cost wise, this job was £750. The customer paid £750. I normally charge normally for bumpers to be removed and with that amount of repairing and to be repaired, resprayed and fitted back on, I'm normally around £450 a bumper. But I've done this one at £375 each bumper, bit of a combination price, so done together. And yeah, doing it this way was efficient. Customer was happy with the price. We made some money out of it. We kept materials low, and time wise, like I say, re-stripped it the night before and done the pushing out of the dents, which took him probably a couple of hours the night before. And then yeah, between us, he done prepping on the front bumper, I done the prepping on the back. Yeah, I started at about 7:30 in the morning, well, probably near on 8 o'clock by the time I got going. Reese come in at 8:30. He was doing a bit of other work as well, but he did prep the front bumper. It was about 3:30 by the time the clear coat was on it, and then it was probably a couple of hours refit the next day. So yeah, not too bad. I think that was done in good time, and yeah, kept the materials to a minimum really. So yeah, that's it. Sort of showing you bumpers on a bit of a budget. Do a good job. Cut some little corners here and there, but still get good results, and you're not sort of bodging, you're not covering up. They're still going to look good. They're going to still have durability and last. But yeah, just a few little ways you can just shave off a little bit off the corners here and there with your preparation and the amount of materials you use, and yeah, and get a decent enough job, which is plenty good enough for the type of car it is really and the condition of the car. So that's it from me. I'm going to sign off now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and we'll see you again in the next one. Look after yourselves.